So I made this hickory dowel off of a board. This is a 3/4 inch dowel, and a couple ways to do it. One is you could hand plane it, believe it or not, and get it pretty close to what you need. The other way is, of course, everybody has one of these Stanley number 77 dowel makers. Just put the square stock in there, and it shoots out a round dowel with a lot of labor. I showed that many years ago at our woodworking club when we were at Bill's place. But yeah, so this is the remnants of a golf shaft that I have left over. So I'm going to chuck this up. Let's see if that fits. There we go. So I got it chucked up. Use the adapter here. Stick this in the vise. And we'll grab one of 3 hand trapping planes that I have here. These are all trapping planes. These 2 are user made many years ago, and this is one I made. We'll use that one. So this is the trapping plane here. It's like a lemon squeezer, and this is something that I kind of made. This is actually part of an old gauge plane, and the nice thing about the gauge plane is it has the metal base and it has metal on the sides. So when you're spinning this dowel, the dowel rests, basically the sides are important to have. Otherwise, the metal sides are important to have, otherwise it'll dig into the wood. So the other half is this V notch here. Now this one actually works better for 5/8, so we might find ourselves popping out of here. And I have another trapping plane I didn't show you yet I might use if that doesn't work. So I'm going to taper this down, try to taper it down to about 1/2 inch. I'm just going by feel. It's not going to do anything exact. So here we go here. So you're starting to see the shavings come up here. Little paper thin shavings. A little rough here for some reason, but it's working. So that's a quick way to shave it. So I'm just going to feel it. I guess that feels pretty good. So I think I'm done. That's it. Tapered. Here's my other trapping plane, by the way. This one works really well, and I'm actually going to use it to finish it off because it gives a cleaner finish. They don't sell these anymore. This is made by a company called Asham Crafts. But this will give a finer finish. And here you can see if you can see the finish here. So that's it, just a little light sanding, and then I'll cut it to the length that I need, and I'll use a spoke pointer in a second to show you how I tapered that back edge. I'm not sure what I'm going to do here. I might put a little ring. We'll figure it out. So I like the feel of this gouge. I like to get the butt end into my palm when I'm carving sometimes. Sometimes I'm like this, but most of the time I like to get the butt end in there. So you don't want it too long. You don't want to be so far away, right? And that's my thought. So I'm going to just cut it the same length as this. So I'm just kind of eyeballing. It doesn't have to be exactly 90 degrees. And of course, just grab your handy dandy spoke pointer, and we will put that into our brace. This is the same thing I use to taper the butt end of a hickory shafted golf club up by the grip end. Now this is a little thinner than what I normally work with, so I'm feeling that. So I want it a little more rounded, so I'm going to just file it, I think. See what happens from there. So I'm just using some 150 grit sandpaper here, taking off the arises, the sharp edges. Just making sure it's not digging into my hand. So that feels fine to me. Yeah, about the same here. This one's a little wider, but should be fine. A little mark in the center. And again, all I'm doing is I'm sighting down this handle, making sure it's in line with my square here, which it is. And it doesn't have to be 100% exact. It could be if you want it to. I'm just going to look at my square here, make sure it's in line, and it looks like it's in line. So I'll grab the this chisel or gouge is about 1.5 inches longer. I already drilled pretty deep, so I'm going to cut off 1.5 inches off of the butt end. Well, I don't know if this is something I can do, but we're just going to try some CA glue in there. See what happens. So there's a little bit, I would say this is like a number 2 gouge. See a little curve there. Since this was the file I used to work the gouge when it was annealed, I'm just putting 1000 grit sandpaper here, and I'll use that to clean this up. To hone the back bevel, Tormac's great. You can buy a knockoff. It works almost as well. I use the rest here and adjust the rest back until I get the bevel angle that I want. And I just work it that way. It's great for carving chisels. I just eyeball it down the side. Make sure I get the right bevel. So I'll just freehand it here. This is a kind of a angled piece of leather. I'm just trying to find the part that matches best. And just take the Tormac and eyeball it. Get the bevel about what you think it is. Using that same motion that we had on the stone. Just rotating it a little bit. And we'll test for sharpness here. That feels good. We'll give it a try. Oh, by the way, when I was forming this radius, I ended up using this stone, which has a little radius, which just happens to match exactly the radius that I want on this number 2 type of gouge. So you just rotate it like that, put it on the stand, match your angle that you want. So the nice thing about the hand crank is it doesn't get hot very quickly. All right, so got it in my hand like that, which is how I like to hold it. And we're working with some end grain. Zoom in there. Well, looks like where Patrick Sullivan came through. Very pleased with it. I don't see any problems with the blade, so works great. This is a red-brown trans tint dye. I put 1 coat on already. It's alcohol based. I use grain alcohol. I don't like denatured alcohol. It's too, I don't know, might be a little toxic. So when I go to Maryland, I get myself a bottle of 189 proof alcohol. So that's the dye there. So I'm running a little low on sandpaper this season. This is like 400 grit sandpaper. It's called Dutch Rush, and it's a plant that almost grows like bamboo. You can see the open end there. So just using the Dutch Rush here, and polish this real lightly. Been used steel wool, but Just natural stuff grows in my backyard. It's pretty invasive though. So you want to make sure you either grow it in a pot or in an isolated part of your yard. Okay, liking that feel. Put a little wax on it. Call it a day.